Okay. Hey, my Legion, how you all doing today? I'm here today to review Jim and Andy: The Great Beyond, and this is a movie that kind of ties in with other movies I've seen. I reviewed that. I think I did a whole slew of videos, movie reviews, and lumped them all together. And I know I reviewed this one. I can't remember if I did it when I was doing. Let me see. Let me look this one up. I know I reviewed it. But I mean, it might have been a slew. I didn't put it in the title. That's why I can't find it. But Man on the Moon was about the movie biopic about Andy Kaufman, Milo Forman did. And what this movie was, almost over 20 years since the movie was made, they have behind the scenes footage, and Jim Carrey talks about his role playing Andy Kaufman and how he became Andy Kaufman, and then he wasn't Jim Carrey throughout the movie. He was Andy Kaufman and all the characters Andy Kaufman did. And I thought it was a really fascinating movie. They said a thing about Universal wanted to sequester the footage, not have it released because they didn't want Jim Carrey to look like an asshole. Um, it's really a fascinating film. Now, when Jeremy Jahns reviewed it, I thought it was all behind the scenes stuff with him playing Andy Kaufman and being a jerk to everybody, because Andy Kaufman kind of had a thing about making people mad, especially with Tony Clifton and stuff like that. Um, but it's a lot more about the scenes, him talking to the camera, and now present day with a full beard, and also Andy Kaufman's career up to that point, and also Jim Carrey's career when he was still a struggling actor or a comedian. And it's a really fascinating movie. It's kind of bizarre when he talks, and even at the end, this isn't a spoiler. At the end, before the credits roll, they say like, "Yeah, we got in some really crazy shit there." The director, and that's not a lie. It's what happened. It's a very interesting film, and like I said, it's not a spoiler. Now, the one thing I gotta go back to that, just like with the Disaster Artist that came out this year. The Room came out and made like made a lot of commotion, about being a notoriously bad film, and it took me until like last month to watch The Room. And with Man on the Moon, it was either early this year that I finally saw it. I just never got around to watching it. And I finally saw it. I can't remember if it was on YouTube or Crackle or something like that. I can't remember. It might have been on YouTube. Not YouTube, but Netflix. I don't remember. And I definitely wanted to see it. And that, hearing about Andy Kaufman, definitely wanted me to check out other videos of his. Because, I mean, I remember he did his take on My Dinner with Andre called My Breakfast with Blassie, which I was fortunate enough to watch with my dad. That was on YouTube. That was really good. And I never knew the song Man on the Moon was from REM, which I heard before, but I never really listened to the song before. I mean, I don't have a problem with REM. I don't really listen to their music. I'm more of a metal guy, but I don't have a problem with them. And I finally listened to music, and they mentioned that Breakfast Mess with Freddie Blassie in that song. But I didn't know that was about Andy Kaufman. I re-listened to the song this time. Well, when the Man on the Moon came out, And then they had a video of The Great Beyond, which kind of like ties into this one too, which is pretty unique. And whenever Jim Carrey was kind of burnt out after the movie was over with, and they said that they wanted him to play Andy Kaufman in the REM video Great Beyond, and he said he didn't want to do it. He said he didn't think he could do Andy Kaufman anymore because it was probably like a very physically draining experience, because he tried to be Andy Kaufman the whole way through, And even to the part where, like, the guy playing his dad in the movie, him and him got in an argument. They were in the dressing room, and the girl started crying and said it reminded me so much of his dad. And Andy Kaufman was like, Jim Carrey was like this. I don't know if he was laughing a little bit or if he was shocked. He said, "I'm so bad." The girl was crying. He got the girl in tears, though, But it's not all about the behind the scenes footage, but it was cool seeing it. And it was cool, Danny DeVito said it was so bizarre. He's just like the way Andy Kaufman was. And he teamed up with some of Andy Kaufman's agents in real life and his family. And it was like they did a reunion. with him. Very bizarre. I think it was cathartic for Jim Carrey to do this video. I think it was from Vice, also the Vice channel. Um, and I really liked the movie. I give it a 10 out of 10. Very unusual. And I wanted to talk some about. I grew up watching Andy Kaufman, before he passed. I didn't find out about My Breakfast with Blassie till much later, like in 88, 86, 87. I definitely want to see it. I saw My Dinner with I tried to watch it on PBS, and that sucked. So boring, but My Breakfast with Blassie was a lot of fun. I did review that. When did I review that one? Well, I might as well look at that too. I'll just look at Blassie. I know that has to be on the. Love mail from Lisa and my review of Breakfast with Blassie and Jerry the King Lawler. Wow, back December 6, 2014. Holy crap. That was a long time ago. Wow. And she has a story about Jerry the King Lawler. Okay. I want to mention Jerry the King Lawler was in a movie, and they showed him and I know Jim Carrey was pissing him off. Jerry King Lawler, I think he slugged him for real, and he went to the hospital, and that got more press for the movie. But my friend Steph, or Leather J, they said rock and roll. She wanted to mention about, she actually met him, kind of. She was at Shoney's. I've been to Shoney's like once or twice while I was in the Army. But she used to live in Memphis. And she's like, she didn't want to give Mr. Law the time in the whole video, but she left me a comment on that review saying that 20 years ago as a waitress, I waited on his table at a Shoney's here in Memphis. And she said he was mad because he walked in the restaurant, everyone went crazy, and I didn't know who he was. Craziest part is I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan. And she said, like, who's that guy? She didn't know who he was. And she said he only left her an 8-cent tip. That's pretty funny, though. I feel bad for Steph, though. But, I mean, that's what happened in the movie. And they gave free publicity in the movie, too. Because they talked about him being a wrestler and stuff. I mean, Man on the Moon is a great movie. Like I said, I didn't see it till, I think, early this year or late last year. And like with The Room, what is that? I mean, it's kind of weird because it has a thing with this new movie coming out and then Man on the Moon being made so long ago, like The Disaster Artist coming out now, and then The Room coming out so long ago. Very interesting. I want to talk about Andy Kaufman. Because like I said, Andy Kaufman, I remember Lotka from Taxi. That's his real rise to fame. And then he had that special when he was faithful on ABC, and I wanted to see it. And I was still like, and it was on 8:30. Dad said, "You gotta go to bed. Gotta go to bed." I had a long time. My bedtime was like 8:00 when I was in school. And my dad said, "I saw that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life." And I finally saw it on YouTube. I enjoyed it. And then he did a weird thing for PBS, where he did a special where it starts with the ending credits, so anyone that goes to watch the show will think it's already over and change the channel. And then they start with the show. It's very bizarre how that started. Can't remember if that was... oh, no, that was Austin City Limits, I think he was on there. He did a whole performance. It's very bizarre. But he was like, did a thing of trolling people where he would purposely bomb and stuff like that and make people mad for his own enjoyment, I guess. That was part of his genius. But wow. You know, I remember seeing him on Fridays. As a kid, I didn't know that what the disconnect was. You know, I do now, but he did that to make people angry. I assumed the fight in Fridays was real because that Michael Richards looks like a real jerk. He was mad at him, and they got in a big fight, and they had a big apology and stuff like that because he applied. I don't know. It's just very strange. Now with Jim Carrey was definitely a struggling comedian for a while. Or even Sharon Stone, let's say Sharon Stone, people were saying whenever Basic Instinct came out, they said she was an overnight success, which wasn't true. Well, they talked about her in Total Recall, and then Basic Instinct came out. Another Paul Verhoeven film came out, and they were saying the overnight success, which wasn't true. I know she won Miss Sagertown in beauty contest. She grew up close to where I live, and with Sharon Stone was still doing movies back in 1980 with Wes Craven movie Deadly Blessing. She was in Calendar Girl Murders, and then she starred in high profile movies, but no one knew who she was. She starred in along with Steve Guttenberg in Police Academy 4, and then she was alongside Richard Chamberlain in King Solomon's Mines and Alan Quartermain in Lost City of Gold. King Solomon's Mine was really funny, but boy, that Alan Quartermain movie, I still liked it, but boy, that was a cheapo one from Cannon. And then it wasn't until, because she was around like 10 years before she gained, really people started to notice her for Total Recall, and then Basic Instinct, her stardom took off. Now with Jim Carrey, he did like a stand-up comedy in Canada in '82. Then a year later, he was on Tonight Show, and I remember seeing that, and it was kind of weird because I was at my, John and I are friends from school, and I was over at his house. I don't know if it was for his birthday, I can't remember, and they showed. We watched the Tonight Show. That's back when Johnny Carson still hosted in '83, and they showed him come on, and he was doing like, imitation of Brezhnev, and then he did E.T., and then he did Charles Nelson Riley, the extraterrestrial. Really funny. I remember laughing my butt off. And then like a year later in '84, he did The Duck Factory, which was a huge flop on NBC about him being a cartoonist. I love the show. I even bought a DVD that had like 2 episodes of it from Big Lots back in the '90s, and I was a huge fan of the show. It was a flop, though. No one else watched it. I told the kids in school, man, that show Duck Factory is really good, and no one bothered to watch it. But I love the show. I'm probably the only one that ever saw it. If I ever meet Jim Carrey, I would say, I love the Duck Factory. I bet you I'm the only person that ever told that to him. And then he starred in a movie called Once Bitten back in '85, I think, or '84, maybe the same year. And he had a starring role, and that movie flopped really bad. And that was pretty much it for a while. And then he had bit parts of movies like Peggy Sue Got Married, which I never saw. Earth Girls Are Easy. And then in 1990, he was still a struggling comedian. I mean, he probably made more money than, us regular people, in Living Color. And they talked about him writing the $10 million check to himself. And then he was able to finally reach that goal in 1995. But I mean, whenever he did Living Color, he became more prominent, more recognizable people. And then he was off the show in '93 for like 2 years. He was having problems. Then when Eighth Ventura came out in '95, I believe it was '95, that was a monster hit and made him a star. And then finally he was able to get that check of $10 million. But when his dad passed away, when the Mask came out, 3 months after The Mask came, or something like that, he said he put it in his dad's pocket and he buried him with his dad. That's more information that was revealed in the show. But I really liked it. I think it's a very bizarre, it's kind of a bizarre experience of what he talks about, but I mean, I think it's a very worthwhile film. From Jim Carrey. And he doesn't joke. I mean, some of the clips from the Man on the Moon are funny. It's not really a comedy, though. It's like a documentary about the making, and he's serious for most of the movie. But I think it's well worth watching. And they talked about him maybe getting a actor not... Well, they didn't really talk about that much. But there was 2 times where people thought he should have gotten nominated or won for Best Actor for The Truman Show and then for this movie, but it just didn't happen. But I give a full-on 10 out of 10. This was a rambling review, but there was a lot to talk about in the Jim and Andy's Great Beyond. So I hope you like this video review. And until next time, bye, please. Take care, my Legion. It's on Netflix right now. It's been on for, a week or two. I found out because Jeremy Johns reviewed it. I think I saw the ad, but it just didn't stick out to me. But it's definitely worth watching. So I hope you like this video, everybody, and take care.